Hi guys, welcome back to the Honey Pop. Today we are speaking with Terez. She is a singer, songwriter, producer, everything over in Canada. She is super sweet. Her new single and music video for I Love or Love to Hate is out now. It's an incredible music video. We highly recommend you watch it and go support her. And then also add Love to Hate to your playlist. But yeah, so we got to speak with her. We got to talk about her songwriting process, the way she produces, her having 500 songs under her belt, which is insane and incredible, and what she's learned from that process. So yeah, we're just super excited and honored to have her with us today. So without further ado, let's get into the interview. All right. So hello. Welcome to the Honey Pop. My name is Brittaney. I'm one of the co-owners, and today we are with Terez. For our first question, could you tell just like a little brief intro about yourself?
My name's Terez. I'm a Canadian singer-songwriter and producer. I have been in love with music since I was a kid and started pursuing a career in songwriting when I was about 16 years old. And then was like, I actually don't want any other artists to sing these songs. I just really fell in love with some of the music I was writing. And although I still write for artists, I am much more focused on my own journey as an artist and started producing music during the pandemic and have since produced a few singles and co-produced my last EP. And I'm just learning and figuring stuff out and having fun.
I love that. So the reason why we're here is because you just released the music video for your song Love to Hate.
Mhm.
Take us back to like when you filmed the video. What was your favorite part of that entire process?
I think it was seeing so many people come together to make this happen. I think we had maybe just over 20 extras, and then you have everybody on the crew, like the director, producers, people holding the cameras, and all the things. And it was cool to see so many people come together, and I was just very the whole experience. And yeah, it was those moments that I would be so proud to see if it was like my 8-year-old version seeing where I am now. She'd be like, dude, you're doing it. That's awesome.
Oh, that's so special though, because you're always gonna remember, like even down the line in your career, you're always gonna remember that video and how it felt, and even the people around it. When you watch it, you'll be like, oh my gosh, I remember like when everyone was here and we were all talking and this funny thing happened. And so it's very special that you get to create something for the public, but you get to actually keep it as well, like internally, and it's just really cool. I like it. Um, but you don't shy away from heavy topics. So Love to Hate is about internet bullying, the bully themselves. Why is it important for you to shed light on that whole place in history right now?
All of us are experiencing it to some type of internet hate, uh, some type of person hate. And I think sometimes just people will pick at anything that you do, whether it's good or bad or, brilliant. There's always some negative way people can spin it. And coming to the realization, like some people, they just love to hate you. They'll find any reason they can. So stop worrying about it because you could do everything right and they'll still find a reason to. And you shouldn't make choices and live for them is something that has really been, I think, a theme in my life over the last few years and has just been a really like peaceful realization. So making music about that, I really hope that other people that are in those situations can find a little bit of solace in that song, and hopefully a little bit of peace and healing as well.
I love that because it is rampant on the internet right now. It makes it very, very easy for people to become anonymous and they kind of just say what they want.
Yeah.
And Unfortunately, they're not really fully thinking about the person on the other side of the screen when they do say certain things. They're not, I don't think they view people as human because it is so detached. So the fact that you wrote a song about that side of bullying, because a lot of times it's like coming at the angle of I've been bullied and that kind of angle, but you're kind of coming a little bit differently and you're talking about the bullies themselves, which I don't think, I might be wrong, but I don't remember off the top of my head a song like that. So I think it's really cool that you're thinking of new ways to talk about the same topic but kind of on a different level. So I think it's really cool. So I'm not a producer. I'm just gonna say that right now. But I really love learning about people who do produce music because it's a beast. It's fascinating. It's a separate piece of art from the music themselves. Um, so you've had a hand in producing music for yourself and for others. What is the key difference you have found in the mindset you're in when you produce for yourself rather than someone else?
I more so do writing for other people. I do like little demo work and stuff, but in producing for other people, I think it's such like a unique experience, and it can really like shift how a song is received, regardless of the songwriting. It can just really create a different vibe. Songwriting wise, it, it's kind of fun because you get to wear these different hats. Like when you're writing for your own artist project, you want it to be really authentic and really honest to yourself. And sometimes it's just fun to like wear a hat and be like, "Ooh, today I'm this." I write a lot in the country, and I definitely have to wear hats for that. I'm not an authentic country girl, um, but it's really fun to just try on a character for a session, write a song with it, and then go back to being you.
Um, so normally you are more of like, I guess, a pop-based artist. Do you foresee yourself ever kind of genre bending or kind of moving into another genre in the future? Is that kind of something that you want to do, or do you kind of get itch that like place in yourself with writing for other people and you're like, okay, but now I can go back and do my thing, which is I want to do like the pop thing.
I feel like pop is just such a big umbrella, and there's so much that can fit under that. So I definitely see myself genre bending right now. The music I'm working on is a little bit more punky than some of my previous songs. I think it's a lot of fun to genre bend, and as an artist too, you I don't want to say you get tired of doing the same thing over and over again, but you just want to keep it fresh and exciting, not just for you, but for your audience. And um, I think genre bending is like a really lovely way for everybody to enjoy that.
No, I agree. That's kind of, it's not really a genre, but it's my favorite genre, if it could be a genre,
Yeah.
is when you bend the genre itself and you're not, you kind of do things differently each release or each album, and you kind of like, you're learning about yourself. So I think it's really cool that people are like experimenting and trying new things and trying to figure out what they actually truly want to do, or they're like, this is an experiment, I didn't know if I could write this, so I'm gonna try. So I just think it's really cool. I think it needs to be its own separate genre in my opinion, because I'm like, I love it, it's so much fun. And I love hearing the creativity behind the genre bending because it hasn't, in the music industry, it's not, now it's more common, but in the past it hadn't been. You kind of stayed in your lane and you kind of bend it a little bit, but I like now that everyone can kind of, you can make this stuff in your bedroom and you can
Yeah.
just send it out and we can be like, oh, we love it. So I think it's really cool.
Yeah, I think streaming has really changed the trajectory with that because before you wanted to get on radio, and that was like really the only way people were going to hear your music at the time. Um, and so you had to fit within what those radio stations kind of prescribe, whether it's pop or rock or country. And now with streaming, um, there's definitely like implications on artists. It's not like the perfect solution to everything, but it has allowed for so much more music to be accessible and also people to blur those lines between genres because they don't have to worry about whether they're going to fit on this radio station or that radio station.
No, I agree. I think we are in a very beautiful time in music. It's very overwhelming as a music lover because there's so much good music out there. Um, but I think we are in just such a beautiful place because anyone can just record something from free programs on their computer and send it out. And it might be like the next big thing because they were just in their bedroom and they had an idea and they did it and they
Mhm.
executed it and just put it out like on TikTok. Like I'm just like, "Oh my gosh, that's amazing."
Yeah,
So,
it's definitely it's a lot more saturated since so many more artists can be putting stuff out, but it's also a lot more accessible. Like you
mhm.
don't need to go and like sign you because you won't have any career without a label. Now so much power has been given back to artists where the independent artist can actually thrive and create value before signing to a label and then through that leverage a better deal.
No, definitely. I think it's incredible. It is overwhelming though, but
Yeah,
it's incredible.
it's overwhelming on this side too.
Yeah, you're like, okay, there's so much. So I heard a crazy stat. You have 500 original songs under your belt. Is that true? Or around
Yeah,
there-ish?
I feel like it might be more than that, but yeah, my voice, like the voice note
Mhm.
or voice memo thing on my phone is a disaster. It
Oh
is
my gosh.
a garbage fire of like unnamed like new recording 729. You're like, okay, I will get to that one day and name them.
No, that's incredible. And two, what do you think is the most important thing that you've learned from writing your first song to writing now? Because you have so many kind of under your belt, you've learned a lot. So what do you think is the most important thing that you've learned?
That's such a great question. Um, I think that it's being this is so like such a basic answer, but I think it's being authentic. And I think that can be true in a couple different ways. One, obviously, like just being honest in your lyrics and not trying to be what's trending right at that moment. Um, because people can see through that so easily these days. Um, and if you're trying to be the next whoever, I think just try to be you, and that will uh, because there's already that artist out there and you probably have something really unique that if you tap into that people would really resonate with. I think too, on a more kind of practical sense, being authentic with finding a bit of a harmony between the melody and the lyrics. um, so instead of just like, oh, I'm gonna write a pop song, and then I also have these lyrics to go with it, finding how those can really like mesh together and create more of a story, um, can be a really excellent way to also bring in the listener. And that doesn't necessarily mean that it needs to be like, oh, well, if it's a super catchy melody, it needs to be like really surfacey lyrics. Um, but I think just finding a way that feels authentic to you. I think someone that has done that really well is Tovlo. With I think it's her song's called Habits. If you like, the song's so catchy, it's such a bop. There are great remixes of it, did well on radio, but it's also one of those songs that you could play it stripped down with a guitar and really hear the lyrics and you're like, wow, this song is actually really deep and semi-disturbing. And I think that comes from really authentic songwriting and creates a lot more longevity for that song because it can be played acoustic or it can be played in club or whatever venue people want to enjoy it in.
No, I definitely agree. My favorite type, I guess, type of music, I don't really know if it's a type or not, but it's more diary based. So it's it's very honest work. So the lyrics have to kind of hit you where it kind of hurts, and it's like, okay, you ripped that out of my diary. How did you do that? Like, I'm going through the same thing, which I think is what is so beautiful about music is you're able to write a song that's kind of broad. It means something very personally to the artist, and we won't ever fully know what exactly that is, and unless they tell us. But I'm kind of this the way of like, don't tell me unless you want to. If you want to share, feel free. But I don't need to know like personal details. I don't need to know names or dates or like when it happened or where it happened. Like, I'm like, no, I'm here for the music. One, are you okay? If it's like a heavy song, like, are you okay? And two, I'm going through the same thing, and I feel more connected that way with the artist, because they're writing something that I'm going through currently or had gone through, and it makes the fan or the general public feel less alone in that way. And I think it just kind of connects everyone on a human level to be like, look, life kind of sucks sometimes, but it's very beautiful at the same time. um so yeah, I completely agree. I think being honest is very important. And I think it's a very easy way to like do it. It's hard, don't get me wrong, because sometimes you don't want to talk about it and you're like, no, 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 like it's a little too raw for me. But when you finally have that music come out, I think it's kind of therapeutic for both sides of the coin. So I think it's really cool. And then heavy topics, I'm like, I'm so sorry y'all have to do this. Like, it's not easy.
I said this to a friend the other day who is not a creative. That as a creative, when you go through a tough time, like you can essentially monetize that hard time. Like you go through a breakup and you're like, sweet, I got a new record. Let's go. But for people that haven't found that outlet, I really feel for them because I'm like, this is so great. Like I'm really just out here doing field research. Um, so don't feel too bad for us. We're turning that into gold. At least we're trying.
Yeah. Yeah, you're like, this is my therapy session. Like, here you
Yeah,
go.
truly.
No, I think it's incredible, and it just keeps the connection going between artist and fan, while not getting too deep and heavy into, because like we might feel like friends at times, but we're not. There is still that line. So I think having these types of songs out there, I think it just connects everyone. And then you also find people who might not have known you, and then they heard the song and they're like, okay, wait. And then they stop in their tracks and they're like, okay, I'm gonna listen again and also listen to their other stuff and be like, I like them.
Yeah.
So it's really cool. Um, but yeah, I just find songwriting so fascinating because I don't do it. So I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, what's your favorite way of like writing? Which is such a basic question. And I always kind of apologize for that because it is very basic. But every artist is different in the way that they write, in the way that they prefer to write, even. Um, so I guess like that's my next question, which is basic, so I apologize. But do you prefer writing like in a collab situation where you're writing with a group of people, like very close, trusted people and producers and other songwriters, or do you really prefer just to be alone with your own thoughts and your own, like in your bedroom or wherever, and then come into the studio and then start laying like production work on it?
I do a bit of both, and I really enjoy both. For example, with Love to Hate, that song just by myself, just sitting on the floor with my guitar. And I felt like part of the chorus just wasn't strong enough. And so I brought in my friend TJ Simpson and uh, asked him to help me edit just that little section. And we edited it, and that's the version you hear now. So that was a bit of both, starting out doing it solo and then moving it to more of like a co-writing situation. And I've co-written quite a few songs, and it can be very interesting. It's almost like dating, to find who you really work well with, because you can really like a person, you just don't work well together. Um, and that doesn't mean they're a bad person or bad at what they do. It's just that chemistry isn't there. Um, so I think it kind of depends more so on what it is I want to write about, and whether or not I feel like the collaborators that I trust will be receptive to that, or if it's something that I really just want to dig in to by myself because it's deep or it's weird or it's something that maybe I wouldn't feel as comfortable saying in a session to get to where we need to get the song to, but I would feel comfortable saying in a song, which is a weird thing.
No, it is kind of weird when you think about it and you're like, okay, I wouldn't really say this in a session, but like I am writing it.
Yeah.
So you're like, I don't really know what that means for me. But no, I think it's really cool that you kind of know that about yourself. You know that, okay, I certain topics I really prefer being by myself, but then I kind of know when it's time to find that collaboration and find a trusted person. And the fact that you've found your trusted people is great, because I think that's what helps you create beautiful art, is because you are so comfortable with the other person and you don't feel judged by them if you're like, okay, well, we're gonna just, what about this line? And it might be really crap. And you're just like, but you need to get it out because it's like the creativity process. And like, okay, we're just going to like word vomit on what we're thinking. And then hopefully something comes out from that and we can work on it and make it look and make it better. So it's good that you've kind of found like your little crew to where you can go to that person and be like, okay, we're just going to say everything we're thinking right now, put it on paper, and see if it works.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was doing quite a bit of like country writing in Nashville, it's such a weird experience because there's a lot of co-writing in Nashville, and there's a lot of like kind of single time co-writes where you might just write with somebody like just once, they're only in town for a short amount of time, or you're only in town for a few days. And it's a really weird experience also being on the writer side instead of being on the artist side, because you share such like, or they will share such intimate details and be like, okay, what's going on in your dating life? And they tell you all about their relationship or what family or whatever they want to write about that day. And then some of these people I've never seen again, ever. And they just like poured their heart out to me and we wrote a song about it. And that is so bizarre to me and so odd, because I don't know what other industry you'd really do that in other than like therapy.
Yeah, I don't think you really do that much else anywhere. And because you don't like in corporate America, you don't go to your job and be like, all right, here's like the brain dump of my life and this is
Yeah.
what I'm going through. And then you're like, oh, by the way, like I'm never gonna see you again. And now you just have this information about someone and you're just like, there's nothing I can do with this information. It's just living in my head. It's
Yeah.
like, okay. It's like, should I check in on them? You're
It's
like,
true. It's true.
after
You
your
do feel
song,
it.
how you doing? Like, was that good for you? No, I think music is incredible, and the fact that you get to collaborate with people and you get to write other genres and meet other people, I think that's only just going to help your own music, because you can take kind of their experiences as well as yours and kind of see different sides of the coin and things. So I think it's really cool that you're already like collaborating with people, and I think that's only just going to help your own music. in the future too. So as someone who has kind of put on a lot of hats during your time in the industry, what is one piece of advice you have for someone who is just starting or wanting to jump in? What would you say kind of as like the one piece of advice that they need to keep in the back of their mind?
I I think some people would disagree with this, but I personally think that anything you would hire someone out to do, you should do once. Just to do it, assess the skill level. Maybe it's something you're naturally really great at, but I think that's a really easy way to avoid getting screwed over, because once you've done it yourself, you know about how long it's going to take, even if you're not great at it. And even if, it took you so much longer because you weren't great at it or you didn't have the right tools, but you understand the technical ability, you understand pretty much how long it's going to take. Um, and therefore can kind of assess the value. I would also recommend that people search like comparable prices for things before they commit to something. I've just seen so many artists pay like 10 grand to have a single produced, and money isn't everything, but those resources can take you a lot further if you allocate them in a way that's going to be supportive of your goals, versus getting kind of caught up in like the shiny lights of some producer who worked with so and so, and now they're going to produce your song. That's really cool. It's cool, and I don't want to take that away from you, but also that doesn't mean that they're going to then connect you with that person, or they're going to create that same level of success. They also need to pay their bills, and having the stars in your eyes can really make you make some interesting choices. And I think when you're struggling financially, it can be really hard to be creative. So if you look out for yourself and you do the research necessary before just getting too excited and saying yes to things, um, that will help you create more sustainability within your career.
I agree, especially on that first point. I think it's very, very important for everyone to kind of at least try each facet of their career. Because even with the Honey Pop, as co-owner, I kind of have my hand in every single thing. I'm not the best at every single thing, and I know that about myself. So we have certain people to like do other stuff because I'm like, I need help. Like we don't have enough time in the day, but knowing their process and knowing kind of the general idea of what we need helps us kind of manage it, and also know like, and especially know how long it's going to take them. And when it's late, we're not like super stressed about it because we understand we might have given them a really big task and we've already done it before, so we know how much goes into something like this. It's the creativity, it's the programs, it's all that. So I think that's true for every industry, not just music industry. You need to kind of try it out, and you might not
Yeah.
even like it, but at least you know what it is.
During the pandemic, I filmed and edited my own like pandemic music video,
Mhm.
and I gained so much respect for video editors, because music videos can be really expensive. And I think just to that point is you don't need a music video. I know every big artist has one. They're very expensive, uh, for partly like a reason. It's a very skilled task, and that whole editing process, I was like, I will never do this again. This is so technical and difficult for me. And I have so much respect. I want to compensate people fairly for them doing this job, because it is something I can't consistently thrive at. And so you also gain an appreciation for people that are helping you out too, or on your team. Because you've done the task before and you're like, wow, that's not my strong suit. So
No, I completely agree. We have two people on our video editing team right now. And I do help out because I know how to like I basically know how to like cut and splice, and I can like now make zoom in on a specific person for like the section that we're in or whatever. So I know how to do like very basic editing. And then some other people are like, "Oh, we're going to put like these cool animation things in." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, we're now in out of my realm." Like
Yeah.
I can do some very basic edits. Now you're kind of getting into other territory that's not my strong suit. If you want to do that, thank you so much. You do that, but I'm not going to.
I'll be over here. Yeah.
Yeah, be like, I will cut and edit this video and you do what you want with it now. Like, because I'm like, oh my gosh, I love the skill that you have, but that is not a skill that I obtain currently.
Yeah.
I do want to learn more and learn more how to do it. But I'm happy with what I kind of know with video editing right now. I think that's kind of where I need to be. And then leave everyone else, the experts, to what they do and create like beautiful masterpieces, because I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know how y'all do it. Like um but yeah, so we're getting close to the end.
Mhm.
And I heard later this year you're going to be releasing your second EP. What can you tell us, if anything, about it?
It is definitely, as I said before, a little bit more of that punky vibe. Um, there's some deeper topics, there's some fun songs, um, but I feel like it's a lot of personal growth. I feel like my first EP was like weirdly heavily rooted in revenge, um, which is like really not who I am as a person. But I think I was just kind of in that space at that time. And that's what I needed to write just to get out of my system. And I think this one is much more rooted in being grounded and recognizing yourself as how do I say this in like a not arrogant way, but just as a like beautiful being that deserves some grace and is learning and is also has value. So I think it's been a lot of personal growth since my last EP, and I think the music really encompasses that. Some in darker ways, some in more fun ways, some in sad ways. So I'm really excited about that.
No, I'm excited to hear about it too. I think growth is beautiful, and I think we go through that in every asset of our life. Like, I think personally, I think we continue to grow until we leave the earth. Like, I don't think we ever fully know, because like I'm in my late 20s, and so people are like, "Oh my gosh, have you figured it out?" And I'm like, I don't know what you think I'm trying to figure out. I'm just trying to get through life, guys. Like, it's
Yeah.
hard. There's like it so I think we continue to grow, and I think that's the beauty in humanity, is we always just grow. And I love that that's kind of the description of your second EP, because I think it's beautiful, and I think it helps fans connect more with an artist if you're showing the growth. Because like from your first EP to your second EP, we can kind of listen and try to hear like, what did you learn? Like, did you learn
Yeah.
like new production elements and you're like, I'm gonna put that right there? Or did you learn a different way to write a song? Or so I think it's just beautiful, and I can't wait to hear it.
Yay, thank you. Me too. Me too. It's like slowly coming very different experience when you're doing the production and recording yourself. Because there's no studio sessions I have to show up to. So like deadline, and so that like perfectionist can really kick in and things can take a lot longer than you think they're gonna take. And um yeah, really just kind of working through that resistance and being okay that things aren't the absolute most perfect thing, because you definitely realize that those little changes, although to you they might be like, oh my gosh, this is important. I have so many times had other people, music industry or not, just completely not recognize it. And I was like, I spent 2 hours on that. And it's just something that, like, to you, sure, maybe it means a lot. And if it's really going to make that big difference for you, but if you're doing it so that other people are going to notice, a lot of times you're doing your best. You showed up your
Mhm.
best. And as long as you're doing that, I think people just really respect it and respect the artistry, because it's hard to put yourself out there.
Some of my favorite songs are demos. And so
Yeah.
they had released a demo on their EP, and I'm like, I wanted to know kind of like why they decided to do that for that song in particular, because it was a beautiful song. And I think it really helped being a demo because you got kind of the mistakes. But then I was like, I don't hear those mistakes though. Like the when you're off tempo a little bit here in this verse, or you hear that voice crack in that verse. I was like, I don't hear the technical side of what you're listening to. I'm hearing the emotion,
Hmm.
that you're so emotional with this song, and it's really hitting you hard. And I hear that. I hear, yeah, there was a voice crack. Okay. But like it hit me really hard. And I was
Yeah.
like, it made me want to listen to you and wanted to listen to the song, and what does it mean? And then what does it mean for the fan being able to take it on? And so I love when there's like little, I guess, mistakes, if you want to call it that, because I don't hear them as mistakes. I hear them as the emotional side of recording, because this is like, especially with harder song, like more heavier songs, they are more therapeutic for the artist. And so when you hear that emotion, I think it just connects the artist to the fan a lot more. And even the general public who might not even know who you are, they're like, wait, they stop in their tracks and they're like, that was heavy. And
Hmm.
then they want to listen for more. So think it's I think it's cool. And yeah, don't focus so much on like the little mistakes unless it's something that you are like, no, I want to work on and make sure that this part is perfect. Because most people aren't going to be listening for that. Um, and I personally just find that it just makes you more authentic, because yes, your voice cracked. Mine does too. Like
Yeah,
it's
it's
okay.
humanity.
It's
Yeah.
okay. And then when you sing it live, your voice may crack too, and that's fine. Like I'm like, no, it's just fun. But yeah, so for our last question, is there anything that you want to plug for the Honey Pop viewers to go and check out? I am gonna have like all your links down below and like the streaming links and stuff, but is there anything in particular that you're like, go check this out?
Um, that's a great question. I think maybe go check out my TikTok if you liked what I had to say about production and things, because I have a lot of tips and things on there that I think if you're a creative or you enjoy watching that process, that you'll also really enjoy. Um, and also, I am really proud of those videos because I really want to help people learn and grow in ways that I've been really fortunate to have access to certain mentors or programs that have taught me those things. And I think the least I can do is pass it on and help other people on their journey.
Yay! Okay, that's super exciting. I will definitely have your TikTok link down below so they can go and check that out. I will be also checking it out because, as you can tell, I really like learning about it, even though I know nothing. Um, I just know like how I feel when I listen to songs. So I'm just like, I know nothing about production. So
Yeah, that's
um,
okay.
I think
This is
it's
where you can come to learn.
no, I love it. I think it's so cool. And I love that you are teaching other people kind of the little tips and tricks that you've learned. I think that's really special.
Thank you.
Um, so I will definitely have that all down linked below. And so thank you so much for joining us. It was an honor to get to talk to you and learn about your process behind everything. And yeah, so thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I had such a lovely chat with you, and it's so awesome to see someone that's such an authentic lover of music. And I really appreciate you creating this platform and this space to support artists.
So that was our interview with Terez. As you can see, she's just incredible and super sweet and lovely. And it was just an honor to get to speak with her about her music, the behind the scenes of it, her learning how to produce and how to edit music videos and all that kind of jazz. But we highly recommend you go listen to Luv2h8, go watch the music video, go leave comments on her music video and tell her that the Honey Pop sent you. We would love that. And all of her links are going to be down below, including the music video, the streaming links, and also her TikTok, as she mentioned just a few seconds ago. And then also all of our links are going to be down below, where we also have a Discord server where we talk about all things pop culture, whether that's music, TV, film, you name it, we're probably talking about it. And we're there 24/7. So what more could you ask? So definitely come join us on Discord. We'd love to have you. And we will see you next time.